The most recent horror movie called Companion is brought to us by the creative team behind Barbarian, a movie I talk about ad nauseum on this channel. I love it. It stars Jack Quaid, Sophie Thatcher, two actors I also am a big fan of. I think they have phenomenal careers ahead of them. And going into this film, I'm not really sure what my expectations were. I heard a lot of stuff buzzed about it, some of the teasers, trailers. I didn't watch any of them, but I will say this, whatever my mind imagined this movie was going to be, this was not it in the best possible way imaginable. I love whenever I have a movie going experience like this. For the record, what it's about, you have Iris and Josh. They fall in love one evening at the supermarket, a match made in heaven, a love that transcends time. But the problem is Iris is a sentient sex robot. This couple goes away to this cottage on a vacation one weekend to spend time with friends. One of the people at the cottage comes on to Iris, who is a sex robot, tries to sexually harass her. She ends up defending herself and killing this guy. And this movie starts a chain of events that is wild, unpredictable, hilarious, kind of a movie I've never seen before. So starting off, let's talk performances. Sophie Thatcher in this film, in my opinion, is one of the best performances I have seen in years. This performance by her is basically flawless. I thought it was awesome. She's playing this sex robot, and what she's asked to do, she's so subtle in her mannerisms and the way she sells this. When you're watching this movie, when it's revealed very early on, that's not even really a spoiler. It happens in the first couple of minutes. Everything she does sells you on the fact that this is not a human. Her mannerisms, the way she moves, the way she talks, some of the weird things she doesn't pick up on, it really makes you feel like this is a robot, but it's also humanized enough that you can root for her character, sympathize with her character when this movie progresses. It's just a very layered performance I found to be phenomenal, which is very important because you spend a lot of time with her character, and I think it is representative of what this movie's trying to get at and how this movie would play out in real life. We're moving towards this as a society, having sex robots, having AI involved in our lives, and it will get to the point eventually it's unrecognizable. I think her performance being so subtle, being able to blend in, is indicative of where we're heading in a very weird way. So I think it's a masterful performance of what she's asked to do to highlight that this could actually happen and immerse you in the fact that this is where we're headed. And then we got Jack Quaid. I have liked everything this guy has been in, from Scream and this. I think this guy plays an awesome creep. He did it in Scream, he does it in this. This guy has a way of selling you on a very serious situation but making you laugh during it. He's like a master of deadpan comedy relief. I just really like this guy as an actor. I think he's very vibrant. I think he has a lot of personality. As I said in the opener, I think these two both have phenomenal careers ahead of them. Cannot wait to see what they both do next, but this pairing was absolutely awesome. And going into this film, knowing that the team behind Barbarian was responsible for this, I could actually see that influence all over it. Because it feels like every 10 to 15 minutes in this movie, you get like a minor reveal or a mini twist or whatever you want to call it, where something of importance is given to you and you just kind of chuckle and you're surprised. There's some jaw-dropping moments. And I thought it kept this movie incredibly fresh as the movie progresses from the original plot points. This movie feels almost like 3 to 4 different movies by the time it ends. And me personally, if you know any of my preferences, those are my favorite type of movies. Movies that are smart, witty, keep you guessing, and they go from 0 to 100 real quick. This movie starts at A, it ends at Z, and I always love a movie that does that. Something I did not expect at all going into this film, based on how it was described and how it started off and just the tone of it, is how funny this movie was. I would consider this one of the funniest movies I've seen in the past couple of years. My theater and myself probably laughed out loud a good 8 to 10 times. Very effective laughs. It's kind of a funny experience. When you're watching this, the tone of this movie changes so rapidly, so greatly, so many times. You can really feel as an audience when your theater starts to be won over, because it starts off, it's very dry, and then there's some comedic relief, and I just found it hilarious. I thought the jokes were consistently witty, the twists related to the jokes were also creative, and the theater at a certain point, you could just feel it had been won over, and everybody was laughing in unison. I thought this movie was highly effective when it comes to the comedy. I did not expect that. And adding to the comedy of this movie, I thought the choice of soundtrack in this movie was basically perfect. There's a bunch of sappy, romantic, oldie songs, which really adds to the ridiculous tone this movie has going for it. It's just like a very lovey-dovey soundtrack, but you're watching absolutely absurd things play out. I just thought it was a very smart hybrid they managed to make work. And since I've already told you what this movie is about generally, I'm not going to give away all of the major reveals and where this movie ends up going. You've seen the trailer, you know the general plot points. That's all you need to enjoy this. But I think when you get past how ridiculous this movie is and what it's trying to represent in actuality, it does have some pretty interesting commentary of what it's trying to say about the way the world's moving. I thought there was some pretty interesting dialogues and dilemmas in this movie that have to do with the ethics of where we're heading as a society. We are moving towards AI, we're moving towards sex robots, we're moving towards robots in general. I think this movie brought up a couple of concerns I've never really thought of before when it comes to the ethics of all of this. And I think it was done in a very creative and fun way that will make you think. And finally, I will say on the surface, this is an entertaining movie when it comes to the AI, the boyfriend, all the dynamics of the cottage, but it also has something creative to say about domestic violence and some of the contrast we can make here. Manipulation, control, the same way we will eventually be able to order a robot, manipulate its controls, change its customizations. It's an interesting outlook how that's not very different from what we already do as human beings to one another, that eventually we will just be able to do in the form of a purchase. I thought that was creative. So guys, I'm not going to give away too much in this one. I want you guys to have the same experience as me. Go out and enjoy this film. Don't know too much going into it. You will be pleasantly surprised. If you can't tell from my tone and my mannerisms, I am ecstatic. I thought this movie was an absolute blast. We've officially got our first one of the year. I think Companion is awesome. So please go out and see this movie, guys. I cannot wait for you guys to go out and see it. When you do, come back, comment down below, let me know what you think. Did you love this movie as much as I did? This is one of my favorite movies in years. As always, if you haven't subscribed, join me down below. I love talking movies with you. I will see you in the next review. Peace.